The shy black waitress pretended to drop the billionaire CEO's hot tea cup, but what looked like a mistake was actually the act that saved his life. I want to see you here again. Like, comment, and subscribe so the algorithm doesn't keep us apart. Now come with me. The story is about to begin. I'm so sorry, sir. Silence fell over the Zenith Club, Sao Paulo's most exclusive rooftop restaurant, when a splash of scalding hot tea ruined Darius Sterling's Italian linen suit. The young woman responsible, Aisha Jones, a waitress with skin the color of rich, deep earth and hair pulled back in a severe, professional braid, stood paralyzed. Her hands, surprisingly steady only moments before, now trembled violently as they hovered over the shattered china. Darius, the 33-year-old billionaire CEO of Sterling Pharma, rose with dangerous slowness. He felt the hot liquid soaking through the expensive fabric, but the burning he felt was the sting of wounded dignity. Every executive dining below him was watching. "Do you have any idea the price of a single hour of my time?" he growled, his voice low and lethal, attracting every gaze in the five-star establishment. "1,000 apologies, sir." Aisha's voice was soft, like polished obsidian, devoid of the expected fear. It was an accident. It had to be. A calculated accident. Moments earlier, she had clearly watched Victor Thorne, Darius's trusted VP of Finance, discreetly drop a milky, off-white powder into the CEO's teacup. That same Thorne now approached, his smile falsely concerned. "Mr. Sterling, what a disaster. Let me immediately arrange a new table and ensure this incompetence is dealt with." "That doesn't clean my $15,000 suit," Darius retorted, his dark eyes shooting sparks of irritation at the kneeling waitress. "Nor does it recover my lost time." "Please, sir, allow me to help," Aisha offered, holding a clean napkin. Darius studied her. There was something displaced about her, a quiet strength that didn't fit the service uniform. It wasn't the typical subservience he was used to. "Fire this incompetent immediately," a middle-aged man at the next table shouted to the manager. "Miss Jones, to my office, now." The manager, Marco, instantly materialized, his face red with humiliation. "No." The word left Darius's mouth before he could think. All eyes turned to him in shock. "I want her to stay and personally serve my next course." "But Mr. Sterling," Marco began to protest. "I said she stays." His tone allowed no contestation. "And bring me another suit." I'm sure a designer store less than 10 minutes away would love an urgent order from the billionaire CEO of Sterling Pharma. As Darius withdrew to the exclusive washroom, Aisha took a deep, shuddering breath. It had worked. She had just bought them time. In the marble bathroom, Darius stared at his reflection. He commanded a pharmaceutical empire valued in the billions, built on the drug Lumina, 3, the revolutionary cure for Aurora syndrome. But what nobody knew was that he hadn't developed the formula. He was brilliant in business, not science. His fortune was built on research he'd purchased 5 years ago, research whose author he had never been able to trace. Back at a private table, Aisha waited, rigid. "Come closer," he ordered. "Tell me, Aisha Jones, why would a waitress like you deliberately spill hot tea on someone like me?" "I didn't. It was an accident. Don't insult my intelligence. I saw your reflection." You tilted the tray. Maya remained silent, eyes downcast, a posture Darius mistook for guilt. "What was it? A bet? A story for the tabloids?" He leaned forward. "Or did someone pay you to publicly humiliate me?" "Sir, you know the price of everything, but you don't own the soul of that discovery." Her gaze finally met his, challenging, intelligent. "You're not just a simple waitress." It wasn't a question. "We are all more complex than our professions, Mr. Sterling. Even you." Darius brought a forkful of his new dish to his mouth, but Aisha suddenly extended her hand, stopping his arm. The unexpected touch sent a jolt through him. "I wouldn't eat that," she said. "I'm telling you I don't trust the source of this dish." Darius slowly lowered his fork, his fury contained. "Explain yourself." Aisha leaned in, lowering her voice. "Victor Thorne put a neurotoxin in your tea. That's why I spilled it. I recognized the crystalline structure from my time researching neurotoxins." The revelation hit him like a punch. "And I'm not just a simple waitress," she continued, holding his gaze. "I have a postgraduate degree in neurochemistry, and I'm the only one who can recognize that compound from a distance." Darius's mind reeled. The shy waitress with the fragile appearance was a scientist. "Why should I believe you?" "Because I'm still here risking my job instead of walking away after saving your life. And because I know your biggest secret." She stood abruptly. "You built your company on stolen research. The initial development of Lumina, 3. The research was called Project Chimera." Before Darius could react, his phone vibrated. It was his head of security. "Sir, we have a breach at the R&D sublevel. A threat addressed directly to you." It seems our dinner needs to be postponed, Darius said, rising. As he turned to leave, Aisha spoke, her voice low and urgent. Be careful who you trust, Mr. Sterling. Some people are willing to kill for a formula. He spun back, but she had already disappeared, leaving behind only a napkin where she had scribbled a name, Dr. Nia Jones. At the Sterling Gene R&D sublevel, Darius found a threatening card left on his private workstation, signed the Catalyst. The breach had occurred exactly when Aisha had spilled the tea. Run a full background check on Aisha Jones. Neurochemistry, worked at the defunct Genesis Labs. Darius felt a wave of nausea. Genesis Labs was the small company he had purchased. The company where the original Lumina-3 research was found. The records of the lead scientist had been erased, but the handwritten signature he remembered on the physical files was in Jones. Dr. Nia Jones, Aisha's late mother. The black waitress was the daughter of the woman whose work he had built his empire on. A message from his security chief interrupted him. Target is heading to the Ascend Initiative, East Zone. 20 minutes later, Darius was discreetly parked outside the Ascend Initiative, a small, non-profit clinic specializing in Aurora syndrome. Through a window, he saw Aisha, still in her uniform, tending to a young girl named Kemi. Auntie Aisha. The child smiled weakly. You'll bring more of the magic medicine, right? A voice startled Darius. Impressive, isn't it? How she manages to work 12 hours a day and then volunteers here to care for these patients. Darius turned and froze. Facing him was his own mother, Alara Sterling. Mother? What are you doing here? Alara, elegant but wearing a simple volunteer apron, observed him with disappointment. I volunteered, Darius. These are the patients who can't afford Lumina-3. Aisha is keeping them alive by secretly synthesizing samples. Why didn't you tell me? Because you wouldn't have understood, Darius. You were obsessed with the price. Aisha taught me about the value of saving lives. Aisha appeared. Her face hardened when she saw him. How did you find me? We have nothing to talk about, unless you've come to offer me back the complete formula. I'm offering a partnership, Darius stated, meeting her gaze. We go back to the lab together. You regain access to your original research. We develop the expanded application you're working on, and you receive the credit you deserve. Victor Thorne wants the complete formula, and he'll kill us both to get it. Aisha studied him. She saw not the arrogant CEO, but a man shaken, standing in a clinic built on compassion. Temporary partnership, she agreed, extending her hand. Until we resolve this. The next morning, Darius and Aisha used emergency codes to enter the Sterling Gene R&D sublevel, hoping to retrieve the final digital proof and Aisha's original notes, the legacy notes, before the 2 p.m. board meeting that Thorne had called to have Darius ousted. You're surprisingly prepared for clandestine activities, Aisha murmured as she quickly began downloading the formula data. The corporate world is a war, Aisha, he replied. I learned that the hard way. The heavy door burst open. Victor Thorne stood there, impeccably dressed, a small gun in his hand. Lucas. And Dr. Jones. How touching. I should have realized you'd come for the legacy notes. Thorne laughed. I was going to wait until the 2 p.m. meeting, but you forced my hand. It's over, Thorne. We have the evidence of your transfers and your conspiracy. Evidence. Thorne smiled coldly. And to whom will you present it? The board I control? The police commissioner who golfs with me. He aimed the gun at Aisha. Step away from the terminal, doctor. I'll take the flash drive after you're dead. Aisha whispered. Complete. She pulled the drive out. Before Thorne could fire, Darius threw himself in front of Aisha. The shot echoed deafeningly in the lab. Darius felt the impact in his shoulder, stumbling backward as pain seared through him. Darius! Aisha screamed, catching him as he fell. Thorne prepared for a second shot, but the doors exploded again. Alara Sterling, followed by private security, who she, as a secret major investor in Aisha's nonprofit research, controlled, and legitimate federal agents, stormed the lab. Drop the weapon, Thorne. It's over. Alara commanded, her voice ringing with maternal and corporate authority. As Thorne was immobilized, Aisha helped Darius sit, pressing hard on his bleeding shoulder. Why did you do that? She asked, tears blurring her eyes. Darius managed a weak smile, holding her hand. Maybe I'm learning there are things more important than profits and patents. Like doing the right thing. Like you've always done. Later, bandaged but resolute, Darius and Aisha presented the evidence. Not just the flash drive, but Alara's documentation proving Thorne had been attempting a corporate takeover for years, and Aisha's legacy notes, which contained the true, dated authorship of the formula. The board, faced with irrefutable proof, immediately voted to oust Thorne. Darius, however, did not return to his old position. He publicly stepped down as CEO and, with Aisha at his side, announced the formation of the Nia Jones Foundation. Aisha was named Chief Scientific Officer, given full control over the Lumina 3 expansion, and the price of the life-saving drug was slashed by 90%. The shy waitress had exposed the truth, saved a life, reclaimed her family's legacy, and, in the process, transformed the entire moral core of a billion-dollar empire. And for Darius Sterling, the man who knew the price of everything, he had finally learned the value of something truly priceless. Without your subscription, we might never meet again. Follow, comment, and share right now. Don't risk it.